Okay, so this week I didn't make it out anywhere. And so I decided that I would test out my winter gear in the backyard. Also, my daughter Tori's like, a hammock, how do you sleep in a hammock? How do you stay warm in a hammock? And my cousin Phil, he had the same questions. So did a lot of other people. So I'm going to share with you really quick some of the things that we did when it was cold to test out our gear. Okay, so it is 23 degrees, 22 degrees, feels like what?
16.
And it's going to get even colder tonight. See our breath? So we are out testing gear. She had to get into her Chameleon. I don't know if you can see him back there. I don't know, it's hard to see it back there. Oh, bright light. So she was dying to get into her Chameleon, and I'm just dying to get out. So here we go. It's like 10, a little after 10.
9:30.
9:30, okay, and it's really light out here still because of the cloud cover and the city lights, but we're gonna see if we can get some sleep tonight. Okay, so I got up to go to the bathroom and I had to share this. It's midnight. Look at how light it is. It looks like daytime, early evening, early morning. This is midnight. So sun's shining brightly on us, or light shining brightly on us, and so we're trying to sleep with all this light, but I don't know. I was nice and warm, so let me crawl in there and get back in there, and almost is in there. Trying to sleep with the light. Okay, almost. How'd you sleep last night? What'd you say? Got down to 14, 13 degrees?
Got down to 14 degrees last night, and everything was warm on me except for my toes. My toes froze.
And you used what last night?
I had a 20-degree under quilt, and then I had my 29 degrees in Vibby bag, and then I had my reactor liner, which added 20 degrees.
The Cedar Summit?
Yeah.
I didn't use the Cedar Summit last night. I was toasty warm with that 0 degree from Outdoor Vitals, so I'm going to let you use that tonight. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome.
Okay.
Maybe some hot hands.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go and do the 20-degree under quilt, so I'm not gonna have that 0, but I'm gonna see if I can do it without my reactor. I stayed nice and toasty, didn't get up till 10 a.m. this morning.
I went in at 6:30 to use the bathroom and never came back out.
That still counts to me as all night. So let's see what happens tonight. Okay, I tried to knock the snow off of my tarp. It still got a little bit of frost on there. Almost got the snow off her tarp. So 3 o'clock a.m. it was not snowing yet. It was kind of cold, but you can. I don't think you guys can see it, but it's snowing and we have a big storm coming in. So almost the last 2 nights, how did you sleep?
Last night I slept a lot warmer than I did the night before.
How were your feet last night?
They're really warm. I did the hot hands in between socks and I wasn't cold at all.
Okay, so last night I slept really warm. At 3 o'clock I had to get up and go to the bathroom and I was too hot, so I took my puffy off and my extra pair of socks off, and I was still hot last night. As you can see, there's almost tarp. Really, that's one of my extra tarp, my secondary tarp, and we knocked the snow off. So last night it got down to 18 degrees where it feels like 7. And the night before, look at all that snow. Look at the snow that piled up just right there on her mat underneath. The night before, it was cold, but not as cold. And there's my tarp. So to explain my tarp a little bit, this is a tarp from Trailhead Hammocks, and it has doors. Yes, doors. This one doesn't. The doors cut the wind a little bit. I prefer that on cold, wintry, snowy days. So I stepped inside my nice little tarp here, and this is my Chameleon. I'll explain to that a little bit more later, but I have a underquilt cover. Now that is to prevent my underquilt, which is a underground quilt, UGQs, 20 degree. It keeps that from getting wet. So that goes underneath my hammock. So my cousin asked, how do you keep your bottom warm? Well, that's how I keep my bottom warm. And I have this winter cover for winter and a screen cover, which I'll get into that more in a little bit when I explain my hammock, to help cut down some more wind. And then I have a top quilt. You can see it in there, it's purple. That is also an UGQ 20 degrees. Now that kept me nice and warm last night. And I'll go over and show you my other one. And almost. And if you look, almost does not have the cover. That right there is my 0 degree from Outdoor Vitals. Now this is more of a synthetic than a down. My UGQs are downs and they're lighter weight, so this one's a little bit heavier. Again, she has the same one, the Chameleon, which we'll get into in a little bit. And like I said, she has no doors, but that still kept her nice and warm. So Philip, that's what I mean about underquilt. An underquilt underneath helps keep the bottom of you warm, stops the wind from coming through, helps insulate your bottom half a little bit better. Some people will use a pad. Some people will try to do it without an underquilt, which is okay in the summer, but I still use an underquilt with a different degree in the summer. But I'll get into my hammocks a little bit more in just a moment. So I showed you I had an undercover. This is from Hammock Gear. Hammock Gear is locally right here on a suburb of Columbus. However, I did order it online. That is to protect my underquilt. So that's the first thing that comes off. Now, because I have down, we're going to pretend this is my backpack. This sits inside my backpack. So let me disconnect this really quick from here. Disconnect it from the sides. Okay, so that's my underquilt. This is my backpack, remind you. That's to keep them from getting wet because they are down. Down does not dry very well. Synthetic will, down won't. So inside my hammock, I have my top quilt. That goes next into my sleeping bag, or in my backpack. So we're pretending this is my backpack. I know this looks huge, but once you put it in the backpack, it compresses down really small, believe it or not. And I'll show you that on a future video. Anything else that's in my hammock, I'll throw it in there because it should be pillow, clothes, because I will explain why my clothes are in here in a minute. A liner, which I did not have to use last couple of nights, which adds, this is a Sea to Summit Extreme Reactor. This adds 20-25 degrees of warmth. I didn't need to use that because my system is so good. So that empties out my hammock. So let's have Almost empty out her hammock real quick. I recruited Almost to explain to you our hammocks, which are the new Chameleons. We used to have the Autumn Ultralights, which weren't bad. It was a double zipper on both sides. The fabric on that one seemed to sink a little bit more, and you couldn't reach the ridgeline if you wanted to put anything on it. So let's go over this real quick. The good thing about the Chameleon is just that Chameleon changes as it needs to change. So if you look, my color is a nice purple. Almost has a nice orange. Now you can choose from a lot of different colors. There's a great color palette out there, and I chose a top winter cover that is also purple. So if you look, it has all these nice little clips and everything on here so that you can hook up your underquilt to this, so it clips right up to help keep it in a nice good place. Mine is a symmetrical one. You can get asymmetrical if you sleep right, feet left, vice versa. I sleep all over, so I got a symmetrical one. What we like about the winter cover is, she'll unzip that. It's got this nice moon cover, so it vents right here for us. It unzips right here, so it can open up and it can make a full view. So if I wanted to lay there and look at the stars, it has the full screen. So we really like that about the winter hammocks, because sometimes we like to just open it up and see. We also purchased the screen. That's what makes it a Chameleon. Accessorize, accessorize. So I can swap out to the screen, which makes it a couple ounces less. But for winter, I really like how this closes in. Dutch has put some nice little screen webbing type stuff up here, so where the zippers connect right up in there, this still protects you from those little crawly critters that try to get in. And like I said, it's got these dual zippers on here, so these zippers can zip off and on. And if you look right here, I can change my tops, whatever I need to do, because it's got these awesome zippers. I can go without a top if I want. We selected to also have a side cart. There's different side carts that you can have, but people were saying, how can you sleep in a hammock when you got no place to put out your gear? Well, look at this. This huge pocket right here is on my side. I keep my water bottle, my Sawyer filter, and I wrap it up a little bit to keep it warm. I put my extra socks in there, my change of clothes in there. Everything goes right here in this little side pocket. Now you can tie out this side pocket so it ties out a little bit more, so it's not leaning right up against you. And my underquilt fits right underneath. There was some cute little buckles, again, to make sure that I can connect it up there. But this is the Chameleon from Dutch. We really like it. I mean, this is our second hammock that we've gone through. Well, almost, you've gone through a couple more.
This is my fourth.
So that's her fourth, and we have settled on the Chameleon. Very easy to put up, very easy to take down, very easy to accessorize to your needs of what you need. And like I told you, almost has the orange one. Now when the color palette comes, you can choose a blue bottom and an orange top if you wanted to. If you're a Gator fan, Dallas Cowboy fan, you could probably do a silver bottom, blue top, or vice versa. There's a lot of different things you can do, but Philip, this is the Chameleon I was telling you about that I use. And we have these awesome beetle buckles. Let me turn this around this way. There we go. That is by Dutch. It has been wonderful. I love these beetle buckles. I've tried, this is like my fourth set of buckles that I have tried on my suspension, and right now this has been my favorite. However, for my tarp, I've got something a little bit cheaper in plastic for the winter, but I love Dutch's wasp. I love how that wasp clips in, so I have that when I have a continuous ridge line, but right now I'm not using a continuous. So there's some information on the Chameleon. Okay, so that was just a quick video on my sleep system because I've had some questions about it. So we spent 2 nights out in the backyard in cold weather to test it. The first night I had the Outdoor Vitals 0 degree. You had the what?
I had a 20 degree.
And how did that work out for you?
I was warm, not as toasty as was last time, but I was still warm except my toes, but I think I just have cold feet.
And I was nice and toasty with that 0 degree, but I wanted to test out my UGQ 20 degree underquilt with my top quilt, which I love my top quilt, keeps me warm. And both nights I was toasty warm. Last night I was really hot. I had to take my extra pair of socks off and my puffy off. So how'd you sleep last night?
Good. I didn't even have to use my liner. It was just my sleeping bag and underquilt.
Yep, and she had the Outdoor Vitals. So, you know, the shelter is your choice. I also have a tent. I have the Nemo Hornet too, which if we have the opportunity to camp out at Max Patch with the 360 view, that's what I would like to take up there. So I have that opportunity to swap out. So shelter is your choice. We like to hang.
Yes, I'm not a ground dweller.
And the pillows. This is the first time we use pillows.
Oh yes, pillows.
Game changer. So
Definitely game changer.
I'm taking that extra hit for that extra few ounces for my pillows. So when time you see this, it'll be 26 days before I hit off Springer. Can you believe that? 26 days.
Less than a month.
Yep, I sure hope it's a lot warmer. But I'll try to make a couple more videos before I hit the trail. Love y'all.